The new 25% tariff on foreign auto parts that came into effect today. However, the U.S. Border and Customs Agency says auto parts compliant with the Canada-U.S.-Mexico trade agreement will not be subject to the new tariff.
It began with murmurs, manufacturing stops, executive quiet, and delayed shipments. And then came the storm. A ripple effect is now unleashing what experts describe as the most disruptive shift in the car industry since the fall of Detroit's Big Three during the financial crisis. But this time, it isn't motivated by bankruptcy. It is not caused by a consumer collapse. Global tariffs, trade retaliation, and political maneuvering are driving manufacturing to the brink of disaster. And what is happening now, May 22nd, 2025, is not a fleeting moment. It's a full-blown reckoning. Before we proceed, please click the like button to help us defeat the YouTube algorithm and show your support. The initial shock occurred gently. The US slapped a 25% levy on all imported vehicles, even those from allies such as Japan, Germany, Mexico, and Canada. This decision, which was intended to defend domestic production, triggered a chain reaction of retaliation. Canada promptly responded by imposing a 25% levy on automobiles manufactured in the United States. China put up to 30% tariffs on US vehicle parts. And, after weeks of quiet talks, Japan announced today that if no agreement is reached by June, it will react with a 24% tariff on American products. The consequences have been swift and striking. Subaru has delayed plans to transfer US-built vehicles from Indiana to Canada. Mazda, which is facing tariffs on its Alabama-built crossovers, is moving supply chains away from US operations completely. Hyundai is rerouting Tucson's heading for Canada through Mexico. All three corporations are making real-time judgments to avoid economic penalties by bypassing American facilities. In other words, global companies are abandoning US manufacturing because the math no longer works. The effects were devastating. Stellantis, the international parent company of Jeep, Dodge, Chrysler, and Ram, said today that it will temporarily close its Windsor minivan factory in Canada and an SUV operation in Mexico. But more crucially, it announced 900 layoffs at US facilities, which are directly related to production halts. That figure might double in weeks if supply realignments are not handled. Industry organizations worry that this is only the beginning. Automobile suppliers are scrambling. Shift workers are being sent home. Thousands of component contracts are currently in limbo. A trade war is no longer a policy issue in Washington. There is a layoff notice in Toledo, a lost cargo in Ontario, and an emergency meeting in Tokyo. And that's only one aspect of the situation. On the electric front, the picture is similarly unsettling. Ford, considered the pinnacle of America's EV future, is cutting down, hard. The corporation has already lost over $5 billion in its electric sector this year, which is a repetition of its losses in 2024. Wall Street expected a comeback. Instead, Ford reversed its forward projections and announced what one analyst described as a strategic retreat. But what Ford did next was completely unusual. Nissan, a direct rival, has launched one of its newest and most sophisticated battery facilities, the multi-billion-dollar Blue Oval SK factory in Kentucky. According to a contract revealed this morning, Nissan will begin making its own EV batteries at Ford's US facility, providing both firms with a short financial lifeline. Ford receives assistance covering idle capacity. Nissan gains access to domestically made batteries, enabling it to qualify for American EV subsidies while avoiding taxes on imported components. Economists praise the accord for its creativity, but within the industry, it is regarded as a red sign. Two long-standing enemies are compelled to form an alliance in order to survive a policy-induced downturn. Because Nissan is not doing much better. The business reported a $4.5 billion deficit in the first quarter, announced the layoff of 20,000 employees, and secretly postponed several vehicle launches set for 2026. Today's agreement with Ford is more than simply a commercial plan. It is a damage management measure. Nissan is bleeding in Europe, receding in China, and, without this new agreement, it risks being completely excluded from the EV transition in the United States. This begs a deeper question. What will happen to the smaller players if the world's biggest established automakers cut output, shut operations, and merge assets? Or for workers who are already living paycheck to paycheck? Stellantis, nobody can stop it. Governments may strike deals in the coming months, but industries will not wait. Production planning takes place 12 to 18 months in advance. Once a plant has paused, resuming it is not as simple as flicking a switch. Elon Musk announced in an interview this week that he will remain CEO for the next 5 years. His comments followed weeks of rumours about board tensions and potential succession plans. Musk rejected the allegations as ridiculous, but he also warned that Tesla is facing fresh headwinds. While revenues are stable, the corporation is dealing with a more hostile European market, where regulatory authorities have initiated additional safety and data privacy audits. In the United States, Tesla remains dominant, although competition is increasing. And here's the twist. Even Tesla, the EV industry's top predator, is suddenly encircled. Rivian is targeting premium truck consumers. Lucid is focusing on the high-end sedan market. Legacy automakers such as GM and Ford are flooding dealerships with price reductions, long-range battery choices, and aggressive incentive schemes. It's no longer a two-horse race. Even Musk, combative as always, admitted that margins are compressing. In Qatar, he stated that the only thing that might prevent him from leading Tesla in 5 years was death. The comment elicited laughter, but it concealed a reality.
Do you see yourself, and are you committed to still being the chief executive of Tesla in 5 years' time?
Yes.
No doubt about that at all.
Well, no, I might die.
Even Tesla is not immune to the tug of the car sector, of course. GM's move to expand the Silverado EV selection and lower costs is being lauded as prudent, but it also demonstrates how quickly the EV honeymoon has faded. All of this leads us to the elephant in the room: the supply chain. Executives from virtually every major car maker are now warning that raw resources such as lithium, cobalt, and nickel are entering a new era of geopolitical uncertainty. Indonesia is considering a nickel export tax. Chile is nationalizing some of its lithium businesses. China, the world's top processor of rare earth elements, has proposed additional restrictions. Despite significant expenditures, the United States continues to lag behind in domestic mining and processing operations. Translation: battery prices may increase again, timelines may slip, production projections may fall short. Several automakers are covertly storing essential components. Hyundai is said to have obtained alternate cobalt contracts in Canada. Rivian has secured a multi-year agreement with a Nevada lithium startup. Even Toyota, which has been dubious of complete electrification, is bolstering hybrid manufacturing capacity in case EVs prove too expensive for widespread use. It is no longer about who designs the quickest car, but rather who obtains the longest runway. Finally, customers can see everything happen in real time. Car purchasers, who were previously concerned about pricing and loan rates, are now putting off purchases entirely.